Hello, Eccentric Entrepreneurs. This is Taylor Elwood, your business wizard, and today I want to talk a bit about the importance of how you let people in on the fact that you're weird when you're in business, because I think it can be an awkward topic, and I'll give you an example. I'm in the process right now of putting together a course on business productivity plan, and I ended up I decided to put together a little recording about working with spirits, like with the spirit of business. And as I was putting it together, I realized that I was making a lot of qualifications in the video, and I was feeling really awkward about it. And I decided to keep them in there because hey, that's how I was showing up, and because there's good reasons for it. I mean, not everyone who takes this class necessarily is going to be working with spirits. But it really sat with me just how uncomfortable that was. And I realized why was because here I was being very vulnerable about something that people would consider weird and eccentric. Which, I mean, hey, we're eccentric entrepreneurs, so that should be okay, right? But it's interesting because you can be eccentric and weird, and yet sometimes still feel awkward about something that you're sharing, because you're putting yourself out there in a way that um, where people might judge you, or people might be like, well, geez, I don't know if I really want to know that about this person. I ended up making a second video where I went further into my process of working with Spirit of Business and slapped it into the bonus section. So it's kind of like, hey, if you want to look into this, you can. And if you don't, that's okay too. But it really got me thinking about how important it is to recognize that sometimes you are going to be uncomfortable sharing your weirdness and your eccentricity, because it's you being vulnerable. It's you sharing a part of yourself with people that you may be used to only normally sharing with certain people, or that you may be used to keeping to yourself. And I mean, here you're being an eccentric entrepreneur and you're putting it all out there. And that's scary. And what I want to reassure you is that it's okay to feel that fear, but what's important is that you don't let that fear stop you. Recognize it, own it for what it is, but also allow yourself to really hold space with it. To be present with yourself and not judge yourself for feeling what you feel. I mean, the unfortunate reality is that sometimes people will get weird about your weirdness. And the thing to keep in mind is they were never your clients anyway. I mean, when I really think about it, the times where I've had people say, Taylor, this bothers me about you, or this is really weird, or whatever else, those people never became clients anyway. And they were never going to become clients. As far as they were concerned, they had already made up their minds and judged me, and that was it. And I think that's important to remember too, is that you're not there to please everyone, and that's a trap that a lot of business owners fall into. I've fallen into it. You'll fall into it probably, maybe not, but a lot of people do. And it's okay if you fall into that trap. Just don't let that trap control you. Don't let yourself fall into it so much that you stop from being yourself. I mean, I ended up deciding that, yeah, I'm uncomfortable about this, but I'm going to go ahead and record it and put it into the class, because it's an important part of how I've really made some of the decisions behind my business. And if that's an important part of how I've made those decisions, then I need to share that with people, because if people are taking a class from me, they are trusting me to share my expertise. They may not like everything I share. They may end up feeling that it doesn't really fit who they are, and that's fine. They can make that choice. But ultimately in the end, it's up to me to be honest with myself and with them about what it is that I'm doing and how it's working for me. And if that means that I have to be vulnerable in a way that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, well, then I need to do that. Um, and at the same time, I need to accept that, yeah, I may end up having some people who are kind of like, I don't know if I ever want to work with Taylor again, or whatever else. And if that's the case, that's the case, because rejection is part of the game. We inevitably find that. And I certainly know, having gotten rejected a number of different times, whether it was business or personal, that there were reasons that just indicated I wasn't a good fit for that person, and that's okay. We're not a fit for everyone. We're not going to be the perfect whatever for every person that we run into. And we don't need to be. What we do need to be is comfortable with ourselves and comfortable with who we are and comfortable with letting who we are show up in our business, because that's part of how we stand out. It's part of what gives us our unfair advantage when it comes to connecting with people. So I just wanted to share that with you, and to tell you that if you ever feel that way, if you ever feel uncomfortable or awkward about sharing some part of you that's a little weird or different from your from your with your audience, just remember that it is that yeah, maybe some people won't want anything to do with what you're offering or whatever else, but ultimately the people who are meant to work with you will come to you, and you just have to trust that. And put yourself out there in the way that it truly speaks to who you are, not to who you think they want, or who even who they think they want. You got to be yourself, and if people accept you, they do, and if they don't, well, hey, let them go. Move on. All right, so talk to you later, and thanks for watching.